Today I want to talk about nail prep. There's lots of ways to nail prep. This is how I nail prep. Always starting with acetone. She's your friend. She's going to dehydrate. I want you to take those blue squares and rub on those nail plates and those nail enhancements like you are removing red polish. Hear me on this. It's an old rule. Act like you're removing red polish. You're not just taking one blue square here, not one, God forbid, cotton ball, dousing it with acetone or alcohol and barely swiping through those nails. You see that pointer finger? She's still shiny. She didn't get any acetone. Those other fingernails, they are dry. You can see the dryness from here. You can feel it. That's how it should be. They should look dry. These are my favorite implements. I will always be using these 3 tools with every service I do, so I like to have them ready to go. Agalore cuticle nippers. These ones I get from the Tammy Taylor website, my acrylic nippers. This is Mr. Clean from also Agalore. Lovely tools. Get your hands on them if you can. I'm using my Mr. Clean cuticle pusher from Agalore. It's a really great tool. Push with purpose. Push back that cuticle. Check in with your client about pressure. Check in with your client if it hurts or not. But if you're doing purposeful movements and you're holding that cuticle pusher at the right angle, this should not hurt. And you have got to get rid of that thin skin that gets left by the cuticle on that nail plate, or you're not going to have the retention that you and your clients deserve. These Agalore cuticle nippers are the best that I've found yet. I quite love them. You'll see that it's not tugging. I can just go in and nip and move away. It's good and precise. It allows me to be really accurate. I say it to you guys all the time, wrong or right, I know I'm going to be nipping at the cuticles again. I know that soon I'm going to be filing that whole nail plate and I'm going to be irritating that area and I'm going to create a little fraying of the skin around it. I am. I'm going to get rid of some of that thin skin that's on the nail plate. It's going to come up even more when I go to hand file. And whatever keratinized cuticle escaped my cuticle nippers here, it's gonna get white and wavy, and it's gonna let me know it's ready for me to nip it. So I do go through each nail. I look at every single one right now, and I'm getting rid of any sort of dead skin or cuticle that I know is on my canvas where I'm gonna be laying my product. But I am also not too aggressive with my cuticle nippers in this state because I know I'm going to be nipping again. I am sure somebody would like to introduce me to a e-file bit at this point that would help me clean up the cuticles and what have you. I'm not interested. I'm not interested. This is just the way I'm going to do cuticle care, and that's what's up. So I'm probably at about a 12 or a 14 here. Keep in mind, if you are having to put a lot of pressure with your e-bit to remove your product, you're going too slow. And if you're scared of burning yourself, that's exactly how to do it. Going too slow and pressing too hard. So it sounds very counterintuitive, but please go faster, press lighter. Okay, it should just be barely like butter. It should just be easy to remove that product, and please go fast enough to do so. It's never my mission to take product all the way off with this e-file or any e-file for that matter. I am just removing the color, obviously the top coat color, and the itty bitty bulk, the hips of the nail that has grown out. I also love to use this e-bit to shape and shorten. So I'm considering my length, And I like to get rid of the little ledges that start to grow underneath, not just the ledges, but sort of those little wings that grow out from the free edge. We notice this mostly with oval shape, sometimes round, a little bit with stiletto, but mostly the oval. With square, it kind of wants to go downwards. I'm just always considering my final product of what I want it to look like. And in every step, when you're considering that, especially right now with your prep, you're just going to make application go that much easier. I like to use the tip of this cone-shaped e-file around sort of the horseshoe of the nail, if you will, that whole cuticle area. And then I'm more so using the sides, but staying parallel with my nail to get rid of the bulk. I'll use the sides certainly to shape and remove length. And remember, always get your balance finger going and to use whatever fingers, especially when you're using your doing your own nails. In this case, I'm kind of using my thumb, the neighboring finger, to get those PNFs out of the way of the file. It just creates a little more stability too between the nail you're working on and your tool. A good way to practice is when you are using your e-file on yourself, try just removing the top coat, just the top coat, and then try just removing the gel color and see if you can't leave that thin layer of overlay behind. This is good practice for your fills and to learn how to not burn yourself and your clients, which will come in handy. It's a good skill. So again, just kind of using the belly and sides, if you will, because of the angle that I turn that e-file to shorten and shape. It's really quite nice to just have one tool that you can use for all three so that you're not constantly setting down, changing out a tool. The more we do that, the longer we take. I do like to obviously make the free edge as thin as I can get it. And just take care to make sure you're doing a little bit of rebalancing here, that the thickest part is where you want it. It's nice and flush everywhere else. Dry brush, go from cuticle to free edge. I have found using files for all my life my fingers are a little bit sensitive to them. These little silicone pads come in handy. I do just throw them in my disinfectant and put the clean ones in that container. That's the brand. I get them from Amazon. And I know it's not popular belief to pick up a hand file after you've e-filed, and I bet somebody's got a bit to show me. I'm not interested. Every time I use my e-file to do my nail prep, I just end up picking up my hand file. I want to get in there and be precise. And I very much respect everybody else's ways of nail prep. This has been working for me for many, many moons. I get fairly good retention. Of course, we've always got that one or two clients that just kind of lift. One that breaks because, my gosh, what don't they do with their hands? But for the most part, I can honestly say my retention is pretty spot on. I got some bragging rights there. So it's still working. I'm still going to do this. It gives me control. I can go in and just bevel what I need to. I can smooth out any of the fill marks that might be left behind by other ways of prep or that just might be left behind. I like to get it as smooth as I can. And again, the more time you take with this step, your application is just going to be that much easier. And not just easier, but more effective because we can seal up that free edge if we've already got it gorgeous, right? If we've already got our shape down, when we apply that gel, when we apply that acrylic, we can seal in that shape with that product. We're not cleaning up a mess after we've applied. I love it when a client says to me when I'm done applying, oh my gosh, you could just leave it like that. It is the biggest compliment. I'm not going to leave it like that. We all know I insist on finish filing, a little buff if necessary, and we're either going to top coat it or we're going to pick a lovely color. But the goal is when the application just looks flawless. And course retention. I'll say it again. The best manicure is one that somebody can forget about until they get a compliment. Or they look down and go, oh my gosh, I love my nails. There shouldn't be little snags left behind. There shouldn't be those little divots, those little notches in the side. And it starts here. This should be where you spend the most time. Gosh, and I almost want to take that back immediately. Like if I were to split up the hour, 20, 20, 20. 20 minutes on your prep, 20 minutes application, 20 minutes finish filing, polish. That's a goal. That's a goal we should all sort of shoot for. And then where you can get quicker, like what's your strong suit? Are you better at application? Then that's where you need to be a little bit quicker. Stay focused. Keep your head down. Let them tell their story. Don't look up at every comment. They'll figure out it's not rude, that you're just trying to be efficient. You can still laugh and engage and not look up at everything they say. It's awkward as a human, but get used to it as a nail tech, okay? Another little tip for you there. You'll notice while I'm filing, let's get back to the nail prep. You guys have almost all seen me do it individually, but I like to push on the edge of the file with my finger and use the corners of those sort of soft corner files to get down by my cuticle area, to get down in the corners of the PNF by the cuticle. And then I do sort of use the whole width and a bit of the length of it even when I'm going over the whole enhancement, right? We can use the whole bit of the file. And then I can let up on the pressure a little bit. Not that I have extreme pressure down by the nail plate, but it's more intense, it's more purposeful. I'm really getting rid of that thin skin that gets left behind. And then I can loosen up and use more of my file when I'm going over the entire nail enhancement. Because one, I'm going over the nail enhancement. I can use the rougher grit, which also allows me to have a little lighter hand for me. I like to have the 240 180 because I'll go in with the 240 around my natural nail and I'll just let that nail enhancement have it with the 180. But again, a lighter grit, a lighter pressure, harsher grit for my wrist. So for me, that works. I'm kind of finished filing, and again, I'm always considering the goal. Always look down the barrel of the nail. Always look down the sides of the nail. I can't stress that enough. If you hear anything in my voice as you go on in your successful careers, keep looking down the barrel and the side of that nail. Look for your line of light when you go to apply. That's going to let you know if you're even. So, in this instance, keep your goal in mind. And I'm just doing a structured gel mani, so for sure I really want to have my product beveled and everything as smooth as possible. Down by the cuticle, it should be as flush and as thin as possible. Please hear those words too. Thin, thin, thin. Even if you got to short stop it, but don't create a bulk. It's got to be a gradual rainbow. It should be so smooth. That grow out should be smooth. It shouldn't have snaggle tooths. It should be It should be smooth, and it all starts here. If we leave dust in those nail folds, if we don't take time to actually shape it how we want the final result to be in our sculpture gel mani, it's going to be a mess if we don't take time with the nail prep. And again, you and your clients deserve awesome retention. So we're going to dry brush, cuticle out to free edge. And from this point, you're going to consider what primer and enhancement you're going to use. I do look and see if there's any one more guy white and waving at me, and sure enough, I find one. Do I find one more? This is what I mean about not getting too intense about the first round of cuticle care. I see a lot of you kind of getting lost in that. Do a little, get your canvas clean, move on, because as you're doing your intentional pushing back, your intentional filing, you're going to have a few more pieces that are going to be white and waving at you. And this is where I want you to get those. We would dry brush it again. Yeah, that's Nail Prep 101.